All right, let's get started. Looks like the login has slowed down a little bit. Those of you that just joined us, my name is Tony. This 45-minute session is going to cover guest center reporting. We're going to get into the nitty-gritties of the guest center reporting features. If there are any questions throughout the training session, please use the questions pane and type it in there. I'd be happy to answer those questions for you. One of the main reasons of having this webinar is to be able to ask your questions that you have. So a quick background about this reporting training session. In the last couple years, we've seen a big shift in restaurant demand for quality of data. And with that said, our product team is really has made a big push on enhancements of providing really great reporting tools for our restaurants. And the last couple of years, we've really developed and enhanced a reporting tool for our restaurants to really empower the user to create and utilize the tool to be able to showcase what kind of data we have inside Guest Center, and not only showcase it, but to really showcase a data that you can actually take action on. So that way you can improve your business by improving your performance, making certain tweaks and so forth that you can use and be able to give you a more of an in-depth analysis of what you have, all the data you've collected through Guest Center from OpenTable, and how you can utilize it to improve your operations and business efficiency. So with that said, today's reporting webinar is going to go over all there's 6 different reporting tools inside Guest Center that we're going to go through today, and it's going to take about it's going to take right up to about 45 minutes. So hang in there. There's going to be a lot of information to kind of take in. So if you have any questions, feel free to send that along. All right. So today's demo is going to really show you how to get into your Guest Center reporting tool. So when you log into your restaurant, you're going to get into to the guestcenter.opentable.com. You're going to get into a login page just like what you see here. This is my test account called Joel's Steakhouse. On the top left-hand corner is your main menu. This is where you're going to go in there and say, hey, well, these are all the different tools that I can use in here. Today, we're going to be specifically focusing on reporting. Okay, when you click reporting, there's a bunch of tabs, menu items on the left-hand side. On these main menus with the top 6 reporting features is what we're going to be discussing today. First one's shift occupancy, second one's cover trends, first-time visits, guest frequencies, reservations, and turn times. So all of these have we collect a lot of information to kind of provide that data for you in every single one of these reports. All right, first things first, shift occupancy. What does this reporting do? Really a great way for a restaurant to analyze reservations and walk-in data for a day, a week, a day, or a shift, and compare that to the last 4 weeks or even the last year, which I actually like the best. My favorite is comparing it to last year. Really great for forward-looking shifts and recently completed shifts. So to quickly kind of look over and see what type of data we have in here. This is obviously a test account. This is not a real live restaurant that you're looking at, but I will show you some screenshots of real data to go along with this interactivity of how you can interact with reporting. So I'm going to show you some interactions now, and then I'll show you some real data from a restaurant that will be displayed. So with the filtering capability in shift occupancy, you can say, I want to look at a week of information. So this is more of a smaller segment of data for the week. Let's say today is the 29th, right? So if it defaults to the current day, so we're on 29, it shows 3 days prior and 3 days after. And if you apply it, this defaults to that, and you can compare that to the last 4 weeks of data, or even say last year of data. Okay, so if you compare it to last year, this is going to give you some information of let me see if I can get some more better information here. But anyways, I'm going to just show you, this is the interactivity of it, and I'll show you some real good data. I'll show you what this thing does. So right now, this is showing you the total amount of covers we have for this week from October 26th to September 1st covers. and this is comparing it to the last year's average cover, so we didn't have anything based on this data. But reservation list here, this right here shows you a breakdown of reservations versus walk-ins. So you can kind of see walk-ins, reservation data, the actual one versus an average versus last year's data. In fact, let me just kind of switch over to here real quick to kind of show you some data that you can quickly see. So this particular restaurant is saying, hey, this October 26th to September 1st, the covers, I have 3,086 covers. And the last week, the week's average for last year, we're getting 3406. So what we're doing so far this year, we're just short of it, right about 300 and some covers short. 320 covers short. However, we do have a lot more days, kind of like we still have 3 more days to go. So we're actually doing quite well when you're looking at the numbers here. So when you're looking at the headings here, the second one, reservations versus walk-ins, you'll see some dotted lines next to these charts. The dotted lines will always resemble historical data, which is what we're comparing to, which is last year in this case. So walk-in data right now, we're actually running at 57 covers. This is a running data, a real life data. So it's always constantly working. So if this restaurant is currently open right now for lunch, dinner, this number will change quite drastically. So if you're running at a peak shift currently, that number will keep changing as soon as people start walking in. So the reporting features are a real live running data that's kind of showing you what's happening as the data gets collected instantly. Okay. So right now this is showing that last week, the week's average for last year, we're getting 153. But again, we still have a lot. We still have 3 more days to go. Today's date is the 26th. We still have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay. And reservation day information, we're right about where we are last year, but again, still 3 days to go, and we're still doing quite well in terms of reservations and walk-ins. And then it breaks down reservations by source. Well, reservations are coming from Open Table Network, what it's doing now, versus what we did last year. Your network, 1,008 covers, and so this restaurant is doing better on their website versus what we did last year. And then phone and in-house reservations. So they're getting more people to book through their website versus people calling in to make reservations. So this is a little bit less than what we did last year. But then overall health, overall health of this particular restaurant is doing quite well. Now, the second portion of this reservation versus walk-in is where you can kind of dive in deep into each particular week, a day, or a shift. So if you're looking at this reservation report here, reservation versus walk-in report. So if we're looking at today, and this is the previous 3 days, the charts is signifying that, let's say, for example, Monday 26th, we have a chart with the solid colors, which are the aqua color and the purple color. The aqua color is and the purple color combined is currently telling what we did this week, on this day, versus last year, which is the dotted line. So we're actually exceeding what we did last year on this particular Monday of this week versus last year's Monday of this week. Okay, this last year's Monday could be on the 27th or 25th, depending on what was last year, but we are actually comparing day by day, not date by date. Okay, Tuesday is also doing quite well. Wednesday also beating out what we did before. And then today, there's a little quick chart here is telling you, hey, our reservations are actually already exceeding what we did last year for today's date. All right, even though maybe this restaurant hasn't even started dinner shift yet. So we're actually doing quite well in terms of reservations. So there's 301 total covers. Last year we did 241 covers. This average number is actually supposed to say today's date today. So reservations 301, and it also breaks down the sources of where those reservations came from. You can see that 121 versus 80 for an Open Table Network. Your network is much better. Actually, for today is actually better than what we did last year as well. So overall basis, we're doing quite well today. And if you're looking at even future days like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, this will show you some historical data. So actually Saturday right here, you can see walk-in and reservation historical chart has a dotted line, which is just exceeding what we're actually doing now. So reservations is just right there, right before it. But we even have 2 more days to go to even take more reservations. So we're likely going to exceed that number from last year. Okay, so this is a very healthy restaurant, just looking at the shift occupancy level of looking at it. if you're running really low, it's not a, if you're running low, if you think that it's not going to exceed that number and your past trend is actually not doing as well, you can contact your account manager. Say, hey, how do we work with Open Table to help close that gap between what we did last year versus what we did this year. There are marketing campaigns we can push to kind of enhance bookings, to push your restaurant a little bit higher in terms of reservations and get people to come in a little bit more, right? Push you up on a list in terms of search engine optimization, as well as marketing campaigns that you can do with Open Table. Talk to your account manager and they'll be able to work with you on some of this stuff. You'll see right here, if you're doing any type of campaigns, you'll see some dots, like a pink dot here, to show you that we've actually enabled some campaigns for this year or last year. Okay, special days. These were actually special days last year, created by the special days creation on the availability planning area. All right, so that's shift occupancy. Great way to kind of, look at your reservations versus walk-in information by week. You can also drill down by day. So for example, interactivity, I want to show you, you can go down to a day to kind of show what's going on today for your shifts. So lunch and dinner, and it'll show you historical numbers here as well. And then also you can drill down by shifts, and the shifts will get you more information as well by time. So we're looking at dinner tonight, 5 p.m., and then this is the information. You'll see some graphical charts, historical data with dotted lines on it, as well as solid line, which is the solid colors are going to be your current cover counts for walk-ins and reservations versus walk-ins. All right. Any questions on shift occupancy? Go ahead and type it in there. I'd be happy to answer those questions for you. I'm going to jump over to covers trend. This is a cool report. All right, I'm going to spend probably the most amount of time here. Covers trend report is a really great way to see and analyze historical covers over time with a large range. Basically, what that means is previously we had shift occupancy that kind of analyzes it in a current week or previous week, and it talks about that week and or a specific day or shift. This actually looks at it in more of a grander, more of a I would say a larger scale, more like casting a wider net of your information that you've gathered. So right here is saying, let me get a covers trend for let's say the last month. So filtering capability, let's say last month, all shifts, all day, I want everything, and I want to compare it to last year. What did I do last month compared to last year? So 72 covers, right? 72 covers is what I did last month, and we're up 72. Basically, last year we didn't do anything. So if you haven't had GuestCenter for a while, you've only had it for like 6 months, you probably don't want to do compare to last year. You want to compare it to the last 4 weeks or previous period, which is the last month of that period. So so that's why the data is not quite there. But let me go ahead and shift over here and kind of show you the trend here. The covers trend for this particular screenshot will tell you, hey, this restaurant's last month covers, we did 18,829 covers. We're actually down 969 covers, which is 5% down from the previous year. Okay, and 45% of these covers were booked on the Open Table network. So you get quite a bit of reservations through the Open Table network. But again, you also get other sources that are coming in for your reservations as well. So 45% of the 18,829 are from Open Table Network. And then 24% of these covers were lead times of booking it from 4 to 7 days. So this restaurant actually gets a lot of people to book quite a few days out. So we see different type of restaurants booking reservations. Maybe you have restaurants that book very last minute. Maybe you're in a downtown area that has a lot of people walking around and they don't know where to go. This could be an area where it's kind of a bit off of the main run-of-the-mill restaurant in the downtown area, because so people have to actually prepare and plan for this. And then also the last heading here, 47% of reservations booked parties of 1 to 2 for the last month compared to last year. Okay, so we're actually down quite a little bit, 969 covers. 5% is not too bad of information for reporting. Oops, this kind of keeps switching up for me, so I apologize. So the second data here, this is a great tool to use. I like using this to look at the covers over time. So this shows you a whole graph for the whole entire month, and it has the historical data, which is the dotted line. And then the actual solid line is what you're actually doing this year. So it's comparing covers over time from this year's July versus last year's July. Okay, so it's telling you, hey, well, how are we doing versus this year? So we're actually down again, 969 covers. If you hover over any of these dates, you'll see a chart kind of pop up to give you some insight about that day. So I have this screenshot here showing you today, July 4th this year versus July 5th last year. We're actually up 84 covers, 23%. So this is not a great comparison because our data compares day by day, not actually date by date. Because although July 4th always falls on July 4th, but it could be a different day of the year. So the good comparison would actually be July 4th versus July 4th. But although most of the data that we're comparing is better off comparing it for day to day versus date to date. Okay, so right now it's saying, hey, 84 covers, but if you hover over to July, I believe July 5th of last year, and you actually see the number is actually still up from July 4th of this year. So if you kind of bump over to July 3rd, or I'm sorry, July 3rd, it'll show July 4th data, and that data is like still right around 400, it's like 460, something like that. And it's actually still higher than what we did. It was just a bit lower than what we did this year. So you're actually still increasing it to kind of see what's happening there. But in terms of the trend over time, it's very similar. So this restaurant is still doing quite decently in terms of the numbers. They're just down 5%. This is for last month, but again, there could be any particular reason why they're down. They can kind of research on that and so forth. Okay. And then also the very bottom here, covers by source, it breaks down reservations. It breaks down your covers by the different type of sources. So you'll see walk-ins, phone and in-house reservations, and your network and open table network. So you can kind of see this. So if you actually, I'm going to show you the interactivity of it. When you hover over any of these information, you can see the information for each day to kind of give you a breakdown. So for example, right here, let me give you some more information. Right here, you'll see, walk-in percentage versus what we did last year's percentage, and then phone in-house percentage versus what we did last year's percentage. So you have some breakdown of each day, and it compares it from this year versus last year for each individual sources for each day as well. So it's a great tool to use. Now, walk-in data, just to preface that information, walk-in data is how do we know if it's a walk-in customer? It's just when they come in and you put them in as a walk-in customer. That's how we know that they're actually a walk-in customer, right? And if they're walking and waiting for a table, they're going to be counted as a walk-in cover as well. The next tab over, I'm going to show you based on my next information here. So this little, the next covers trend area, there's three more reports, segments of this report that I want to make sure that I cover, because this is a pretty cool tool. We just actually launched this report for you guys for GuestCenter. Your open table network covers comes from. So we had a lot of customers asking us, hey, your open table network, can you break down that network covers and where they're coming from and how other partnerships, because we have hundreds of partners that we work with at Open Table, and because we get sources from all these different partners, customers want to know, hey, how is Open Table doing versus what the partnerships are doing. Just to give you a quick fact, out of all Open Table networks, roughly around 90% still go through the Open Table platform. Okay, so that tells you how the power of Open Table's network versus our partnership networks. Generally, about 10% of covers come from partnerships like Google, Apple Maps, Microsoft, TripAdvisor, Zagat, Yahoo, or anything like that, or Bing. Some of these partnerships that we deal with, we have a bunch of them. Our biggest partner, if you can look at here, what we show here is breaking down Open Table networks from our platform versus our partners. So if you look at here, for this restaurant, Open Table versus partner network, 91.7 still come from Open Table, Okay, and the partnerships is right about 8%, 8.3% for this this last month, compared to last year. And we're actually showing a lot lower no-show rate versus the partnership rate, and that's across all restaurants. Our open table platform no-show rates are generally at least 50% less than what you see at a partnership rate in terms of no-show. So our diners, our quality diners that actually do show up, not saying that our partnership diners don't show up, it's just a little bit, they tend to no-show a little bit higher than open table, right? And our Google Ship partnership brings in the most amount. Out of all our partners, Google brings in the most amount. Out of those 10%, Google brings in the most amount out of those 10% of total network coverage from open table. Okay, and you can see right here, it'll break down the number of covers are brought in from that partnership, and then also their no-show rate for that as well. Cool. So that breaks it down. It gives it a little bit more transparency. We want to make sure that restaurants understand where their covers are coming from. I've seen restaurants get 60% open table platform, it's 35% from our partnership networks. So it just depends. Maybe they're doing they're more popular restaurant that's people generally search for, and Google has a better search optimization for those restaurants as well. Okay. All right, the next two are pretty straightforward. Lead times. It breaks down the lead time covers, and it tells you like which ones are which lead times comes in. Earlier we had talked about it. 4 to 7 days is the highest lead time, so we get most of their covers coming from there. Not to say that we still get a lot of reservations from 14 days forward, 8 to 14 days. We still get a lot of reservations 2 to 3 days, and even 24 hours. Lead time for 90 minutes or above is a little bit low. It's probably because we don't have availability, because these are all booked up, right? So this is kind of giving you a quick analytics to kind of show, hey, how far are people booking ahead of time, and then what you can do with it to kind of balance it out. If you can get people to book ahead of time, again, no-show rates tend to a little bit higher for when you get more days out. But again, if you're a restaurant that people come to and your no-show rate's pretty low at 1.8%, that's pretty low. That's a really good rate for open table for this restaurant. Okay. Average party sizes, and it tells you, it breaks down average party sizes it breaks down average party sizes where people are booking. So parties of 1 to 2 are your highest booking party sizes. Then it goes down to 3 to 4, 5 to 6. So it's a pretty step down trend here as well. So bigger parties get a lot less reservation, are booked a lot less than your smaller parties. So 1 through, I believe 1 through 6, I would say it's probably looks like it's about 97% of all your bookings are in this particular case. All right. A question came in. Everything you are talking about seems to apply to long time users. We only had open table for 2 weeks and only open for 4. Is this seminar I should take down the road? No, you can still take the seminar. This is something that you can do. You're just gonna have, if you had it for only 2 weeks, obviously there's not gonna be much data, right? So but at least you know that the reporting is there and what you can do with that data once you collected all that information. Of course, you're gonna need more data to get a little bit more insight about your restaurant. So of course, down the road, I would there's a report down at the very end called turn times. That probably requires about a month of data to kind of get an idea of what you are looking for. Shift occupancy is a great way to look at it in terms of like forecasting. Maybe not like looking at historical data, but coverage trend, of course, you need a lot more information on a longer term. First-time visits are great, which I'm going to get to, in fact, right now. Actually, yep, first-time visits. So first-time visits, and this when you click on the first-time visits here, this right here, the report provides really insight into first-time diners that come into your restaurant. So it's saying, hey, so the last 30 days, so the filtering is always on top, last 30 days compared to previous year. So this is saying, hey, this is my first-time visits. How many of them? 12% of my reservations were first-time visits. Let me just kind of switch over to the actual data. Looks a little prettier to kind of look at. So for this restaurant, 2,412 visits. Visits means the number of parties. So 47% of all my reservations at my restaurant are first-time visits. So roughly about half of my reservations or half of my visits that come into my restaurant are first-time diners, 2,412 covers. So that's up 6 covers, roughly 0%. So we're in line with last year. Right here is saying 45%. So basically, it's going to break down first-time visits in terms of covers. So 8,375 people out of those visits came in, and that's about 45% of all my covers were first-time visits. Okay, and that's up about roughly about 130 covers. That's right. So we're up 2% from last year. So that's a good number to use. Open Table Network top booking sources for Open Table is 45% of all your reservations for first timers are booked through Open Table Network. Okay, so Open Table do generate a lot of first time diners in this case. First time party sizes are 2 parties, 2 guests. So those are the most popular first time diners are parties of 2. Now, this actually gives you a breakdown of first time diners versus repeat diners. So when you're looking at the data for July 1st through July 31st this year versus last year, this gives you a little chart of repeat and first time diners. The first time diners are the purple color, purple dotted lines are the historical numbers from last year, and then the purple solid lines are the first time diners this year. And then the aqua dotted lines are the repeat diners last year, and then the aqua solid lines are the the first time diners, the repeat diners for this year. So if you hover over any of these reports on these charts, you'll actually get to a certain day, and you can look at the information. It'll pop up with some information saying July 11th compared to July 12th last year on that Thursday. This is a good comparison because July 11th and July 12th, Thursday is the better comparison, and it's telling me that hey, I'm 16 covers above more than what we had the already at 16 covers, 43% more than we had last year, and then my repeat diners are also coming back as well, 18 more than what we had last year, 40% more. So this is trending pretty well for this restaurant in terms of first time versus repeats. And again, the repeat diners are your foundation of your restaurant in terms of getting them back in is the hardest part, right? First time diners and so forth. So looking at that information, first looking at that information gives you an idea like how what can I do to increase my get my customers back to dine again. And this restaurant's doing actually a pretty good job of doing that, right? Because you'll see some restaurants that have quite a bit of first-time diners on the very top, right? First-time diners on that, and the repeat diners lines are all at the very bottom. This particular restaurant is right around 50-50. They out of their first-time diners and repeat diners, they get a blend, right? So some restaurants have first-time diners coming in. If you're a destination restaurant, you're just probably going to have a lot of first-time diners, and you rely on them for your business. This restaurant relies on both first-time diners and repeat business. So giving you a health of your restaurant, kind of looking at your first-time diner versus repeat is a good indicator of your health by looking at that information. All right, and then it breaks down your first-time diners by source: walk-ins, phones, your network, and Open Table Network. And then also first-time diners versus repeat diners by party size. So this breaks down like, okay, my top first-time diners are two tops, and this is the 2 top that we're looking at here. So it's saying, hey, 2 tops. For 2 tops, we get the solid chart is for first-time diners, and then the historical. So we're actually doing better first-time diners than we did last year for parties of 2. Repeat diners, however, we did better last year for parties of 2 versus what we did this year for the month of July. So you can kind of look at this information and kind of draw into some conclusions why, and maybe build out some of the other party sizes for repeat diners and so forth. All right. Any questions on the first time visits report before we get into guest frequency? Very cool interactivity, just like we see earlier. You can kind of hover over any of these days, and you can change the visits and covers as well. So you can visits are number of parties, and then covers are the total amount of people from those visits. So when you're looking at these G chart, you you can change these cover counts to visits and covers as well. All right, guest frequency. When you hit over here, this is going to give you, when you first get into guest frequency, it's going to give you a top 50 guest list of compared to last month. So last month we had Indiana Jones come in 5 times, right? This is my top customer guest that came in, and you'll have a list of 50 of them, all right? So, and you can filter it too as well. Last month, 3 months from now, year to date, last year. So I'm going to show you guest frequency based on an actual real live restaurant. So we have right here, top 50. This person right here, JB, this is probably like a person that maybe refers customers or anything like that. They actually use that. But Brittany K right here for the month of July, they came in 9 times. Okay, and this is total covers. So she always probably, they average 2 people. So 9 visits, 18 total covers. So about averaging 2 people. So you can kind of look at this data here to kind of get an idea. It actually shows you top spend and tip spend as well as lifetime cover spend. So if you have point of sale integration, this report is actually fantastic. I would definitely recommend you guys talk to any of your account managers and look at and see what type of POS system you have. And if it's one of the ones we work with in terms of integration, we're adding new ones constantly. So I think we're up to like maybe 10, 11, maybe 12 now. But a lot of POS companies work with us. This provides a lot of detailed information like lifetime spent as well as total spent, average spent for a customer. All that information is kind of pulled out and be able to display on the reporting side. So this is a great way to kind of show who are your big spenders, when are they coming to spend, and how often are they coming to spend at your restaurant. So you can kind of utilize this information to kind of, hey, I see you can even do this for last year or something like that. So last year, click that link here and say, let's show me my best customers last year. Let's invite them back for a winemaker's dinner. We have this great vineyard that's in town that want to do some kind of promotion with us, and we want to promote it and pair it with some of the entrees that we have at my restaurant. And this is a great way to kind of pull that information up. In fact, once you do the report, there's an exporting feature called export full guest. So even if it's showing only 50 guests, when you export it out, it actually shows you more, shows you all of it for that month. So you can say, hey, show me all my guests last year. And then, sorry, year to date. Let's see if it has anything year to date. There you go. All my reservations, 31 visits. John, Indiana, 14 and 31. And if you have POS data, you'll be able to see exactly. And you can sort these out too as well. Show me the covers. And right now it puts all the ones on the very top. And you can sort it out by visits here. What you could reverse it too as well. So what I like to do is, especially for a new customer, Ken was saying, hey, we just got the open table system for like 2 weeks. How do I use this information, right? Guest frequency is a really great way to use that information. So you can actually look at here, because obviously you're not going to have that many visits. You're going to have a lot of 1 visits, and you want to be able to invite them back, right? So you can utilize this information, export it out, make sure you hit the details and see if they wanted to be part of marketing campaign emails and show their emails, apply it, and this will show you all the email addresses here. And if they opt in, meaning they don't mind receiving the email marketing campaigns, check that out and then export that guest and then be able to market those yourself. Send it out to the customers, all right? And do those marketing campaigns. This is a great way to kind of show forth a guest frequency report. You can print it out too as well. There's a print feature. All right. Any questions on guest frequency? All right, reservations. This report right here, pretty straightforward. A lot better than the default reservations report under front of the house. Under front of the house, there's a report that kind of quickly punches out. It's called a printable reservations report. Kind of shows you the name of the reservation, notes, table, when it was made, and what the status is. You can export that and print it. But this, when you look at the reporting side of reservations, it goes in depth into all the reservations that you have. So it goes in and talks about the, let's say I wanted my reservations for, actually, let me just show you this one, this reporting. I wanted to show my reservations for today, and These are 307 covers for today, 82 reservations, and it breaks down the sources, okay? Covers by source, Open Table Network, phone, walk-ins, and then it breaks it down by channel as well, the different partners that we have, Open Table Platform and Open Table Partnership. And then within the report, the actual reservation report, there's actually a partner link here. You can sort out by the different partners that actually is titled here. So it actually gives you a little bit more detail of the partnership network here on the reservation, where they came from. So this reservation, Helen, came from Google, and you can sort it out by clicking the partnership icon, and actually sorts out all the partnerships into a group. So this is a great way to kind of sort out. You can also do this. What you can do here is, maybe I want to look at today's reservation list. If you hit today, I don't know if there's too many of them today. Let's say there's 3 reservations. Let's say you have a lot of reservations, all right? And you want to be able to see all my customers that came in last month that are VIPs or something like that. You can utilize this little toolbar here to kind of sort out all the VIP customers that I had, or even year to date. Show me all my VIP customers. Boom, I have one. And Gary Prude, right? And this is a VIP tag that's been automatically assigned. And you can utilize this search engine to kind of sort out the different type of customers that you're looking for, or even looking for a specific customer. Maybe you're looking for a reservation that happened 6 months ago and you wanted to read some notes about it. Okay, you can come over here and look at the information. Where did that person book that reservation for, right? And then what type of notes do I have about that customer? So you can kind of look at here. Okay, Indiana Jones. You can see year to date there's a bunch of reservations for Indiana. So this person is a big time booker with us. And you can see more information of all the times that they've been here. Again, tags and stuff are automatically being populated because they've been here many times for reservations. Really cool tool to kind of play around with. You can sort it out. There's a bunch of other tabs on here that you can actually add on. Would they choose a specific table type? Were they part of any campaigns that Open Table offered? So you can kind of see all that information and apply it to that reservation in detail of each guest in your reservation booking. All right. Questions on that? Go ahead and use that questions pane. The last one is called turn times report. This is something that you can action pretty quickly. After about a couple weeks or even a couple of months, you can utilize this information very quickly. What this thing does is, let's say year to date. What this thing does is analyzes your turn times, what you're actually doing at your restaurant, versus what your settings are, versus turn times broken out by party sizes. So right here, when you're looking at actually, let's turn over and look at the turn time report here that I have as a screenshot. This restaurant is showing my average party size for parties of 1 to 2 is 2 hours and 5 minutes, and current setting time is at 35 minutes under. So this is telling me what my average is and what my settings are. And actually it's a 35 minutes difference. So this is this is one of those reports that you can action immediately to kind of offset that discrepancy, because this is going to it could potentially have a huge impact on revenue for your restaurant, because and even customer revenue would be more like your settings are too high, your average times are too low. But in this particular case, your average time is too high and your settings are too low, which is telling you that, hey, the customer is booking a reservation for parties of 2, and they're actually sitting a lot longer. Therefore, other reservations that are waiting for that same table is gonna be waiting a lot longer than they should have, and they're gonna be waiting right about 35 minutes longer than they should have. Therefore, creating a customer experience that might not be on a positive side, because they have a reservation, they had to wait 35 minutes before sitting down, and that could be a big problem. So this is something that could be easily identified, because we're actually looking at the year-to-date data for this restaurant, and this is for Friday dinner. Friday dinner is probably one of those cash cow shifts that you want to make sure that you have as precise as you can. So in this particular case, your diners for parties of 1 to 2 are likely not going to be as happy as people that are 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 tops, because they're quite a bit. They're right there. They're about 24 minutes, 10 minutes less. Again, you can give it a little bit of buffer too, just to make sure, because you never know, right? because 35 minutes is more difference is more of an average. There are going to be restaurants, there are going to be corner cases where customers can get up earlier and you can accommodate it. But on an overall basis, this is something that you definitely a restaurant should actually adjust. All right. So right here it gives you average party size of 3 to 4 top, so it breaks it down by source as well. Parties of 1 to 2, parties of 3 to 4 breaks it down by different sources. So you to quickly, immediately action that issue, it's colored in orange. So it tells you, hey, it pops out at you, right? And then also one significant difference, you can click the availability planning. This actually takes you directly over to the section where you can make that change. So this availability planning area jumps directly over to that section, and you can make that change immediately. All right, and then on the bottom here gives you a quick breakdown of all your party sizes, as well as sources with turn time average. So Open Table Network for parties of 1 to 2 average is about 2 hours and 3 minutes. For your network that you book through your website, about 13, 14 minutes longer. Phone reservations, again, 7 minutes longer. Walk-ins, however, are quicker. So walk-in customers tend to get here and get out 15, 14 minutes earlier than 12 minutes earlier than actually Open Table Network. Okay, so 12 minutes. Now, what does that mean? What could you do in terms of actionable plan? So when you actually take a walk-in customer and you know it's an hour and a half, it's a 2-hour setting. They usually average about 1 hour and 51 minutes, and your settings at 1 hour and 30. So hopefully you have it back up to 2 hours and you don't have to make any changes to any of this stuff here. So 2 hours should be a good setting for this party size. So again, this is 12 minutes quicker. Walk-ins are generally a little bit quicker, even bigger party sizes too on an overall basis, maybe except for this 9 to 10. It's pretty straightforward now. So something that you can kind of use this when you're doing a walk-in customer, you can make the manual adjustment on the spot to lower their turn time, so that way you know they're going to be getting out earlier, right? Because the default turn time is going to be default based on a reservation setting, and your walk-in turn times are going to be based on that setting as well. But you can manually adjust the turn times as they walk in. So if you know they're going to be 15, 30 minutes less based on these settings, remember it, and then you can make the adjustments accordingly. Okay. Now again, Open Table Network reservations, even though they're maybe sitting a little longer, they might spend a little bit more as well. So it doesn't mean that you're going to get less revenue on any of these other sources or anything like that, but it just tells you that they're going to be getting up a little bit quicker. Okay. So that is turn time report, and that pretty much encompasses all the 6 reports that we've talked about today. Are there any other questions that we have for today that you'd like to talk about? Again, while you're writing your question, or if you're not, you can always, we have our support website at support.opentable.com. It's a great tool to kind of get into details about reporting. So all these reporting features are also on the our support site that you can actually read about. You can also get some YouTube videos and read about Open Table training. Subscribe to our YouTube video. You'll get videos that are on demand anytime you want to be able to learn something about any of these reporting. They're really short videos about specific features. For these reports, they're probably like 2 to 3 minutes long for each one of these to kind of go over the top level, more of a high level overview of what they do, and not necessarily more a deep dive into what we talked about today. All right. And you can always call our 1-800-OPEN TABLE number if you have any questions on the fly that you can't have access to internet or anything like that. Phone is always there. Open Table support is all in-house employees, and you'll get answers very quickly, generally picked up within a minute and answered within a few minutes. Alrighty. I don't see any other questions coming through. I appreciate you joining us today. Thank you very much. Anytime you want a refresher on these, we have these reporting webinars now once a week, same time, 1 p.m. Pacific time, every week on Thursdays. So join us. Anytime you need a refresher, or if you have anybody that needs to know that a little bit more detail about some of these reportings, let us know, and we'll be happy to. I'll be here at 1 o'clock every Thursdays. All right. Take care. Have a great day today, and we'll hopefully see you guys soon. Bye-bye.